Very nice of you. That's my group loaf-in I've got up there.
Beautiful. Is that nice?
Now I say, that's very nice of you.
Yes.
Very nice. Boy, it seems strange here today.
Yeah. We're going to do something for you. A little surprise, all right? All together, gang. Let go.
Sounds like a bad case of indigestion. Well, I'm Johnny Carson, and this is the last monologue you're going to get. I'm not releasing any more monologue. You've already got enough monologues to convict me. No more.
Wait a minute.
I got to quit reading the transcript. Will everybody please turn to page 76 in your transcript? And today's reading is from John Dean, chapter 6, verse 12. And John said to his master, "The jig is up." We've got no band.
No band.
Now, we must explain to the people at home. Let's give them a shot. Take a shot of what we've got over there. Looks like a room full of Tommy Newsomes. There was a strike that hit all of the networks, I think, Saturday at midnight. And we're one of the first shows affected because we do a live show. Most of the shows on television are filmed. Does anybody know how long this is going to last?
Not for sure.
For sure.
It'd be great on the witness stand. To the best of my recollection of that point in time, I don't recall. Anyway, I guess it's, like most strikes, it has to do with working conditions. So we hope the guys are back soon, because we do miss them. And it's strange walking out here to a recording.
Yes.
This is the second time we've had trouble. Last year I was hit by a writer's strike, and now it's a musician strike. The writers today were a big help. They said, "Why don't you kill two birds with one stone and sing the monologue?" Writers have no help at all. I think they're on strike too. So it's just
us.
It's just you and me tonight.
That's it, pal.
Just you and I, or just you and me?
Just the both of us.
It's the two of us.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you're here.
Why? What?
Well, because you went to the Cinco de Mayo celebration the other day. If you're not familiar with the 5th of May, the Cinco de Mayo, it's kind of like, what do you call it, the Mexican 4th of July or something like that? And you had to get into that, didn't you? You'll go with any...
I love causes and celebrations.
Love causes or celebrations. I wouldn't say he drank many margaritas, but he woke up this morning with his head caked in salt. You have a wild time.
Yes.
4 o'clock this morning, the police picked him up out at Leo Carrillo Beach, running down the beach yelling, "Cisco, wait for me!" Well, let's see what happened. We had a strange electrical freak storm here last night. Were any of you here last night in town? Yeah. Did you hear the thunder and lightning? We don't get much out here in Los Angeles, but I'll tell you, people adapt quickly out here. They're used to weird things happening. And today on Hollywood Boulevard, I saw an exhibitionist wearing a lightning rod. And I want to tell you, when he flashes now. What's happened over the weekend? Did you see the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
Was that it looked like a commercial from Merrill Lynch. I've never seen so many horses. They had, 24 horses?
Yeah.
24 horses in one race. And you know how they got them all started? The starter yelled out, "Last one in's a Big Mac." Boy, they went out of that gate. That's what he yelled. Anyway, I had a busy weekend. I did a lot of reading this weekend. The Sunday Los Angeles Times printed the entire 1,308 pages of the transcripts released by President Nixon. How many of you have really sat down and read the whole thing? Yeah. Really? All 1,308 pages? It is fascinating. But the paper, that was the heaviest paper I have ever seen.
How heavy was it?
Well, I sent my little dog.
Yes.
I sent him out to fetch it. And he's at the vet's today being fitted with a truss. That's a heavy paper, but transcripts are fascinating. The senior citizens in Burbank is giving them a new desire to live, just to see how it'll turn out. Transcripts. I'll tell you about the White House. They mounted counteroffensive real quick. Did you notice this past weekend, for example, to support the president's position, they had James St. Clair, the president's lawyer, was on Meet the Press, General Alexander Haig, the president's right-hand man, was on Face the Nation. And Ron Ziegler went on the Wacky World of Jonathan Winters. That's what they did. No, but the president is countering. He was in Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Seattle speaking. And next week, I understand he's going on Let's Make a Deal dressed as Abraham Lincoln. That's what I hear. I don't know if that's true. But it's a rather historical event. Do you know what it means? 1,300 pages of transcript. David Fry will have enough material for another 4 more years. David Fry is the impressionist who does.
Oh.
And he'll have 4 more years.
It's lonely out there, isn't it? The band would have loved that.
Yes, they are. The band. I can hear the laughs now. Well, it's going to be a fun show tonight. We don't have any music, but to make up for music, we have a gentleman by the name of Jan Monroe, who is a fire eater or fire breather.
It says.
What is the difference? Well, we'll find out.
I have no idea.
I've never heard of a fire breather.
I just announce them, you talk to them.
Okay. You want to join us? Yeah, vacant spot. And also we have, well, Buddy Hackett is with us tonight. Cass Elliott, Don Kingman, who's a very fine artist, and
Fire breather.
the fire breather. I already announced the fire breather.
Jan Monroe.
I don't know how to finish the monologue. I don't have the band.
Just swing the golf club.
What?
Swing the golf club.
Yeah, but they don't play anything.
Well, we'll hum again.
You just go bump, 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 bump. So
We'll
thank
do
you for
that.
coming, and we'll be right with you.
All right, let's go.
Now, here's Ed with a couple of everybody's favorites. Here's Ed.
Any expert that ends with him is hard to explain.
We're back on now. Ready? It's wonderful to see you.
Off the stage and sit
Our producer wanted you to see his new pants that he won at a boat auction out at Marina del Rey. And they took a shot of he was telling me he did something. He went out to Hollywood Park, I guess with Mervyn LeRoy in a group, and he was dressed nicely, you know. You know how you go to the park and you wear the tie and the jacket. Freddie said he was feeling just a little elegant. You know when you think you're well put together, sartorially right, and everything is right, and hair looked nice and the tan, and he's set with Cary Grant.
Uh-oh.
Now, the whole afternoon, everybody's coming over. Hello, Fred. Gee, Mr. Grant. You know, and you think you're so great. That's not the person to go out with when you think you're looking sharp.
He looks so great, doesn't he?
It's like trying to pick up a girl with Joe Namath.
Yeah. No way.
Choose the wrong people.
Yeah.
I got to read you this. It was sent to me by Eileen Brown in New York City, and it was from... this was an article that was in a magazine. I'm just going to read it because it shows you our government at work. And it's absolutely true. About a year ago, the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare proposed a $23,000 study aiming at finding out why children fall off tricycles and bicycles. 23 grand. The proposed study was entitled The Evaluation and Parameterization of Stability and Safety Performance Characteristics of 2- and 3-wheeled vehicular toys for riding. The preliminary investigative efforts have revealed that children usually fall off tricycles or bicycles because A, they lose their balance, or B, they bump into something. Further information will be passed along as it becomes available. Now, you wonder what's wrong with the government, folks? $23,000 while kids fall off of tricycles.
And that's the conclusion.
They lose their balance or they bump into something. Then you see the senators sitting around in an investigation. What are we going to tell them, Harry? Well, I think they bump into things. Maybe they lose their balance. 23 grand. We're in a lot of trouble.
I think so.
Remember New York a few years ago, New York City? And I've mentioned this on the air, so forgive me, but they did another one of these brilliant things. The sum of money was $25,000, and they tried to build doggy comfort stations.
Oh, yes. Right.
Because people were complaining about the dogs going all over the street and in front of apartments and so forth. So the city of New York spent $25,000 as a trial, and they built 6 doggy comfort stations. And what it was an area about 10 by 12 feet. And they set up like a little house. They had a little fence they had sand and a plastic fire hydrant. Like, for some reason, dogs would know. Dogs are not human people. You know, they're not humans.
What did the dogs do? They
ignored it. They went out of their way for blocks to avoid... and went over on a tree. And a car fender. Can you imagine? 25 grand. They built 6 of those, and that's where the taxpayers' money went.
Oh.
I don't understand. We handed out some... speaking of animals, this is in Variety today. They handed out the Patsy Awards, I guess Friday. You know what the Patsy Awards are? Well, this is another award show where they name the best animals in the entertainment business. Anything to put on an award show. And I want to see how much up you are on show business. Who do you think? Midnight the Cat from Mannix and Barnaby Jones won the TV series award from the American Humane Association. Now, the cat won. Farouk, dog from Chase, took second place. It was probably block voting for the cat. You know, all the cats get together and say, yes, vote for Midnight. Other winners, Scruffy, the dog from the Chuck Wagon Dog Food, first place. Third place was Bobby the Bull from the Schlitz Beer ad. Let's hear it. Caesar, dog from Trapped in TV films. And Sonny the cat from The Cat Creature won second place. Did you believe this? Awards of excellence were presented to, now they get in the television series. Ott, horse from Emergency.
Who? The owners accept these?
Billy, the animals accept themselves. Can't you see a horse getting up?
Make a little...
I want to thank the stud farm in Kentucky. Yes, I don't know my mom and dad personally. I don't believe that. Rosie the camel from One Little Indian won in the features. I think that's hysterical. I guess it's for the American Humane Society, which is a association, which is a good organization. But can you see those animals? And they showed up. The animal walks out on stage. And I didn't see the show, I suppose they...
Yeah. Gets a dog biscuit and goes home.
Takes the award, and that's it, and that's show business. All right, what else have we got? We got time to answer a few questions? Hi, Dong, how you doing?
Fine.
Don Kingman's going to be on the show later, and he's doing sketches during the show.
He's great.
Of us, so look animated. Give him something. I can't read the signature.
Nor can I.
Tuffin? Strafen?
That was an F.
Fluffin? Fliffin, Cosgrove, Barney Cosgrove. How does a person try out for show business singing? Who wrote that?
I did.
Well, obviously it's not Fluffin. Excuse me?
Raffins.
Rappins.
No, G-R-A-F-F-I-N. Give me a G. Give me an R.
Well, I think the main thing is... We better find an opening for him. He's coming down here in a moment. Clarabelle Storm? Excuse me? Stowe.
You gotta go down.
I've got to go.
Just make a visit. See what they say.
What?
Just see what they say.
I have 20/20 vision.
Really?
In this eye. The other one I don't. Oh, it's about eyes. Are both your eyes the same color? Yes,
that.
except for the green one. What color are my eyes?
They are kind of greenish, yes.
Hazel.
I don't call those hazel. I have hazel eyes.
The Department of Motor Vehicles calls them hazel, and if they want to call them hazel, you have no right to call them anything else but hazel.
They've never looked in them like I have.
That's right, you would know. That's right. What routine do you keep? Annette Solove. Now, that's right. Right, Annette? Right. What routine do you keep that keeps you trim, handsome, and young?
Yeah.
Yeah. I turn on Jack LaLanne and watch him grow old. Hope that dog's going to get him someday. Right, Frank?
Was he didn't get an award, did he?
What?
That dog, did he get an
Jack
award?
LaLanne's dog, no, for health, I think he got an award. It's, John B. Beanham?
Yeah.
Is that the way I pronounce it, John?
No.
Oh. Excuse me, some of the writing is a little... Dinahan. Spiro Agnew was on the show a while ago, and it was very interesting and funny. Any plans for having him back in the near future? I think I'll say nolo contendere. Do you miss Tommy Newsom? I always have. Marjorie Albert. Tommy, I hope they're all back soon. We really miss the band. Do you plan to pose for Playgirl magazine in the future? No. They did call, though.
Really?
Have they called you yet?
No.
I'm not ready for that
No,
yet.
nor am I. No way.
I don't think my Frau would think that was
No.
too funny. You probably won't answer this, but how about saying hello to 5 women from Denver, Colorado, who are out here living it up without husbands or kids?
Aha. Where are they?
Oh,
There they are. Oh, they are.
4 ladies with a brown paper bag up there. You got to do that once in a while, right? You must get away from your spouse.
Yes.
I don't mean forever, but you must get away occasionally when you are married, and I think that's very good and healthy. Luna. Rona? What do you like in women? That's all.
Are you going to answer that?
No. Katie Russell. Why do visitors have to be kept standing on the sidewalk for such long periods of time? Look, we tried squatting and it got out of hand. And we said we better go back to standing because that looks very weird out there. When are you going to let Ed do his W.C. Fields impressions? How about tonight?
Who wrote that card?
James Digney.
Ah, Digney, yes. Fine chap of a man. Oh, yes. Great drinker, Digney. Yes.
Would you be interested in making a special guest appearance at our dorm at UCLA? We'd love to have you. Tammy Leviton. Is that a girls' dorm?
No.
What?
Co-ed.
Co-ed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't visit a dorm. Maybe sometime later.
It's good to get away, as you said.
You ruined my beauty sleep. I've been visiting California twice in 1965 and today. Will you always be on the air so late?
I think you're reading into
welcome to
that
Stockholm.
An anger that may not be there. You're reading that like this person is angry.
You ruined my beauty sleep.
See how different it is?
I've been visiting California twice in 1965 and today. Will you always be on the air so late?
See the difference?
Who's this from? It's
Were you angry when you said this? What?
Hello.
Doesn't seem like she was angry.
Where are you from?
I am from Stockholm, but I'm Norwegian.
But you're Norwegian. Yeah. How do you pronounce your name?
Watching your show every night.
Really? How do you pronounce your name, dear? A-S-E.
Bosse.
Usa.
Bosse.
That's very pretty.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. What is it, Fred? We've seen the pants. Sit down.
Money.
I guess we got most of them anyway. Take what?
Money.
Money speaks. No, Harry, I don't like to be rushed.
No, there's no need. You're the star of the show. If you want to delay it, it's up to you.
When somebody rushes me
Why don't you
like
tell me
that,
when they push you around as big as you are?
No, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that I don't like to work under pressure.
Ed, would you read it?
We'll be right back, friends, right after this message.
I wanted to read it.
You'll read the
Chance
next
to read it. Well, then you can read the one after that. We'll be right back. One of our sponsors. See, they're just I don't know. I'll talk. Hi there at home. Lady in our audience just won the gas range, but they're still left.
Can't you arrange
We're
that?
talking to the audience side, which is kind of fun.
The Magic Castle?
How many are you there, dear? Sure.
He can
I'll
arrange
try to
that.
get you in.
Yeah.
When do you want to go?
How about tonight?
What is this? They didn't ask you to go. They didn't ask you to
Maybe
go.
the 91-year-old girl wants to go out.
Now we know what kept her so young. Sure, we'll work it out, dear. Give your name to one of the pages, and then let them bring it down to me. And you want to go tonight? I suppose you'll want dinner first? Sure, I'll work it out. John Shrum, you know, who's our scenic designer, is a member over there and does a lot of work. And normally you have to go with a member. But
since you're a magician of standing, you can get her in.
Well, I can certainly call and see if they...
Sure.
Just two young ladies? Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, sir. The white vinyl boots threw me there for a moment. Just easy. Sure, we'll work it out for you.
Okay.
A-L-X-Z-E. Bottom line, N-K-N-G. Something I said, Ed? You can go to the Magic Castle. You're going out and talk to the 91-year-old lady, aren't you? All right, Buddy Hackett will be here tonight, Cass Elliot, Don Kingman, and the next gentleman you will meet is Jan Monroe, who is a fire breather, not a fire eater. Although maybe if we push him, he will eat the fire. Is Ed ready?
Yes, I think so.
All right, we'll continue in a moment. First, we have a word from Ed, and then we'll be right back. This is going to be grim after about a week. Okay. We've had people on from the Renaissance Fair before. It's an authentic recreation of the entertainments, crafts, foods, games, and pageantry of England in the Elizabethan era. And it's very fascinating. It runs through it's open on weekends and it runs through May 26th and it's held, well, we'll find out from our next gentleman, but one of our performers is the performers in the Renaissance Fair is our guest tonight, and he is a fire breather. Would you welcome Jan Monroe? That's the worst case of halitosis I've ever seen in my life. Did that come out of you?
Yes.
Now that's... Obviously you had that in your mouth when you walked out, or you've been eating it in 8 N's, one of the two. What was that?
Well, it's a special liquid which I'd rather not disclose on national TV, because I can just hear the reports from all the hospitals all over the country.
We should point out, incidentally, at the start of this thing, when you show things like this on television, if there are young children watching, and I mean young children, we should point out to their parents, do not let the children attempt anything like this, because kids, you know, they see something and they want to put something in their mouth and think they can do it, so we should caution them. The young children, probably that young, who don't know better, probably not up this late anyway, but you do have to caution them, don't you?
Yeah, children up to the age of 25, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's, what's the difference between, now I introduce you as a fire breather. Now you hear about fire eaters. What's the difference?
Well, do what?
They don't inhale.
They don't inhale, said the gentleman. Well, fire eating is, you have a torch.
Right.
And you light the torch and you put it in your mouth, close your mouth over the burning torch, then pull it out again.
I've seen them do that in Carson. It's still lit or whatever.
Right. And it can go out, and then there are a few other things. I've never really been, I've never done it before.
In other words, this is not a full-time profession for you. This is something you learned and...
Well, I was, yeah, I'm a mime, as a matter of fact.
Was that right?
That's what I do. I studied with Marceau in Paris.
Did you study with Marceau?
For a year, and then with a man named Decroux for a year.
Etienne Decroux, right.
Decroux.
One of the great mimes in the world.
The master.
So now you took up this fire breathing...
After I got out of school, the first job I got was in a street circus, and I got a job there as doing a character in mime. It was kind of a commedia dell'arte character. And in that, I learned how to walk slack rope, tight rope, do stilts, spit fire, and do acrobatics.
All the comedy type of... all interrelated, right?
The whole thing, the whole entertainment gamut, really.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do, Jan. Obviously, you've got some props over here and things that you work with, so shall we go over and learn a little bit about this art?
If you're ready.
I'm ready to watch.
Ready to watch. I'm going to watch.
Up. Let me get the lighter first.
All right.
Right. Here we have a torch. And here...
Is that some of the beverage you had in your mouth? Whatever it is.
That is some of the beverage.
Yeah, I smell that. Just, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a mixture, obviously, of some inflammable. Obviously. Boy, I pick up real quick on these things, folks.
And so
you saturating the torch?
Putting some medicine here on the torch.
All right. And you soak that pretty good.
And now...
Okay.
Now we have a lighted torch here, the beverage here. And that was that.
Good heavens. Have you ever had any problems doing this? Like you breathe in?
I have never breathed in, but about 2 years ago I had a beard. And I had a slight problem with some flames before my eyes for about 3 seconds before some friends of mine got to me and put me out.
That's a terrible thing to say to your friends. Put me out. That's ridiculous. What else we got here? You've got.
Well, we've got some. We've got a towel, which is also. I noticed we've got a fire extinguisher over there, just in case.
Yeah. When you work with fire on a stage, it's required by theater and so forth that you do have things to put you out.
And some whipping cream, which you drink beforehand to coat your stomach.
Whipping cream?
Whipping cream, or
Now, why do you do that?
Well, because it coats your stomach.
But you don't take the stuff into your stomach, do you?
No, but just in case something does go into your stomach.
Why would that happen?
Someone patted you on the back, you sneezed, you jerked.
In other words, once you put that stuff in your mouth, some of it could trickle down into your stomach.
If you swallow it, it could. If you don't swallow, it won't.
Mm-hmm.
So you hold it in your mouth, breathe in through the nose, make sure that the wind is not going this way, that way. Always breathe, find which way the wind is going, and then vaporize it out of your mouth.
Right. Wait, want to show us that again once?
Okay.
'Cause I'm not sure how much of that stuff you take in your mouth.
Well, that's what the water's here for.
You got all that now?
All of it's out.
A little bit dribbles on your chin. Is that
And for that,
a napkin?
a napkin.
Good thinking. Okay. That's fascinating. And no, I'm not going to do it. I've done a lot of things on the show. We've taken falls and we've done all kinds of things. Parachute jump and that. But this, I'm afraid I might not be able to handle.
Well, if you would like to try it with water, which is the first step, we could go that far.
Ah!
I mean, water.
This is water.
As long as it's bottled water.
Knowing Craig, they'd probably switch it on me. In other words, you want me to...
Put a little bit
How
in the
much would I
glass.
take?
Well, put a whole glass. Well, that's
All right.
fine.
Now, how much of this do I actually take? Say if it was this liquid.
Just a tongueful.
In other words, about about a teaspoon, something like that?
Yeah, a little
You
bit
say?
more. A little bit more than that.
When you say vaporize it... The king is dead. What? When you say vaporize it, I mean, you just... What do you mean vaporize it? If you spit the water out, it's just going to...
Well, there's a difference between vaporizing and a solid stream.
Of course there is. Right. Solid stream.
Solid stream.
Solid stream. That is a solid stream.
And this is vapor.
Vapor. do I try it once first without that?
Several times.
Glad talk. I had a question there. I forgot that First, my solid stream. Now, vaporized.
And now vaporized.
Now, you want me to try that with that stuff?
Try it first, one more time, with water. Well, there's enough in there.
Did I vaporize all right?
You vaporized all right.
I always keep a little in reserve to put myself out. That smells lousy.
Well, I know, but
What do you wait? I know.
one has to make a living somehow.
This really bothers me. I don't know why.
Just do it once.
Look, if an electrocution bothered me and somebody said, just do it once, what's the difference? I don't understand that at all. I'm scared, to tell you the truth. I'm afraid that, I don't know what I'm afraid of. What am I afraid of? Would it come back at me? I'm afraid I'll swallow it. That's what I'm afraid of.
What you have to do, first of all, is drink this.
I can't drink heavy cream.
You can't drink heavy
No.
cream. Well,
I don't even like heavy cream, much less. No, I don't like the consistency. I can't drink butter. You see, that's heavy cream. Yeah. All right, let's go. We'll light the torch.
all right, what you have to remember is just a small burst, holding the torch about here, right about here, just like, just to get used to the.
I'm only going to do this once.
Well, then just do it once then.
Right.
But just a small burst. Just
There's no possible way that could come back.
not if it's small. Just keep it.
No, you didn't answer my question. The question was, you gave me a qualifier. I said, there's no possible way that can come back, and you said no, unless. That's that unless that bothers me.
Well, once it's lit, close your mouth. Because if you continue the stream, it will burn back. But if you close your mouth,
Close your mouth so it can't go back.
I think you can do it.
Here's a man. Here's really just a stranger off the street that'll try it. Would you do this if you were me?
If I was you, no. I wouldn't do that. You got a pretty steady job. Even the musicians don't show up. They still give you work. Why do you want to spoil your mouth,
What do you got here?
I was going to pour this on your head if you put that in your mouth. I like coming around here. I don't want nothing to happen
I'm
to you.
going to try it once. What
You're
can
gonna
happen?
What? Nothing could happen.
But
But I used to talk out of both sides of my mouth before I burned off the nerves on this side of my face.
Quite a long time ago.
And also, all these are fake teeth. The other one's melted.
melted. The only thing that bothers me, I don't like the taste of foreign things in my mouth.
Oh, well, don't ever kiss Louis Valet.
I know that. Yeah. I'm going to stand aside with the thing.
Oh, go back now.
No, you can go back. You can stand right there if you want. I shouldn't be doing this.
Just quick.
You know, the older you get, the faster you burn. Did you know that? Young people don't burn well. Old people go just up like a...
so now I'll make a graphic demonstration. What? One more time.
He's going to show us.
Just a small burst.
All right. Just...
Oh, there's a little exhaust here, too.
If you like that, you take off like a jet plane. Very small amount.
Maybe you ought to do what he did. He's got an open seam.
We didn't start out that way. I've just received my award from Mr. Monroe from the Renaissance Fair. Be it known for his valor and wondrous dexterity in the ancient and honorable mystery of fire eating. Knight of the Order of St. George and the fire-breathing dragon, let John go forth with his flaming wand. What the hey? I ain't going out with my flaming wand, nowhere. And set the world on fire.
Look at this, it says, and be he dubbed Sir John.
And be he dubbed Sir John. Well, you gotta be a dubby to do it, I'll tell you. I got also a medal.
Medallion.
And I have my own torch. Would you like your shoes done? Okay, the gentleman who was out here hustling coffee a moment ago, a good friend and a very funny man, Mr. Buddy Hackett. I don't know if you heard what I said a while ago about eating and dating owls. Now, I don't want the Jewish people to write in and say, now you're putting Jewish food down. But you said it yourself. Jewish food is hot.
Jewish food, well, hey,
If it's made...
If it's really kosher.
Right.
It will give you a burn like you've never had. But you don't know, it looks very pleasant when you eat it.
What are those little things your mother used to make?
Kreplach.
Kreplach.
Oh, she used to take the dough
Yeah.
and chop the meat with herbs and spice and onion and garlic. And then she put in the dough with her gnarled old Jewish fingers. She'd squeeze them together. And nothing in the world would get them open again. They must explode in the Jewish body.
That's right, you said Gentiles are not good with kreplach.
No, if a Christian eats them, they come out the same shape they went in. And you can often hear a Christian who eats it say, hark, an arrowhead.
You used to mention, I think, if I can remember, years ago you did a thing on that. I remember you talking about they don't have the KTM.
Yes, the Kreppel triggering mechanism. The Christian body.
That's right, they have the
KTM.
Kreppel triggering mechanism.
Just like Jews can't handle peanut butter. Hangs right in the gourd.
White bread and mayonnaise, just one big lump in there, huh?
That's right. Like my kids, they go over to some friend's house and mother gives them peanut butter sandwiches. And if they catch one once without mayonnaise, it just hangs in a gourd box. Right there in the gourd, it lays out.
But that food is so great when you're in the... I love it.
Oh.
I really do.
It's hard to eat it here in warm weather, but if you got a good cold climate, they used to, my mother's address used to make a cholent.
What's that?
Oh, cholent.
Cholent?
Cholent will give you a fire, a heartburn. I used to go the whole winter without an overcoat. You just take a walk out in the yard and the snow melted. You could put your toes on a building and give them heat for 2 months.
That's hot.
It was, you take cheap cuts of meat.
Right.
And brusfat, that's suet.
Brusfat, yeah.
Suet, you know. And beans, lima beans and chickpeas and potatoes.
Sounds
and it
great.
cooks 24 hours.
What gives it the fire? Chickpeas
The
are a little...
fat, the bris fat mixing with the carbohydrate explosion of the... See, the beans pre-explode. Is what happens. They go right there in the pot, and you go 24 hours. And the 24 hours is not for flavor.
Right.
That's so to soften the meat so you could eat it. Once she cooked it 22 hours, and my father made a wallet out of it.
Well, that was to save money, because you didn't have that kind of bread to buy those kind of things.
No.
Yeah, that's great.
You know that, I remember one night the three of us in Danny's Hideaway in New York.
Right.
When we could have done that fire trick without nothing.
That's right, yes.
If anyone would have passed with a match, you would have... I just remember...
Those are a few years ago, wasn't it?
Oh, it was almost 10 years ago. I remember
Yeah.
you ordered a shrimp cocktail.
What a memory.
Yeah, and you ate one of the shrimp, and we had food of over $40 worth of food, and that was the only food consumed that night was your one shrimp. And the three of us wind up at a table with some ladies. You two are divorced, and I got a feeling after tonight mine's coming up. Boy, do we have a swell time.
Well, you got to do that once in a while. You've got to, my uncle used to say, you got to go out and blow out the soot.
That's what we did. We blew out the soot, and my chimney started burning.
Let me do this. We're coming right back. Stay with us. We're going to talk about your book.
Oh, good.
You did some, buddy has done some poetry. Died in 1734, huh? Okay. Here, we don't have any musicians, as you know. We got a musician strike, and we...
Oh, that's a good one. You just opened your hand.
We missed the guys. I was talking about Buddy's book. You wrote a book called The Naked Mind of Buddy Hackett.
Yeah.
You didn't pose for that, did you?
That's me, ain't it?
Come here, get a close-up of this. I know it's your head. I don't know. It looks like your body.
That's me there.
And you got
I'll explain the whole thing to you.
Well, I would like you to explain this.
Okay. When you put the close-up, I'll describe it, and I'll tell you.
Both parts.
Okay. Now, there you see...
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Is that a 7 1/8 or 7 1/4, the hat?
Whatever, there was room for a whole family.
So, and you're in the other picture also, and you play the...
Yeah, well, let me tell you what it is now.
Okay.
You see me there lying naked on a psychiatrist's couch and excited that I think that I'm telling my troubles away. But who am I telling it to? I am also the psychiatrist. And if you notice, I'm looking at this guy, I wonder what he's saying. I'm not even listening to who's also me. Now, I have no clothes on, and there's a clothes tree in the background with a dead duck hanging. Which is what I think happens to most people who go to psychiatrists. They're just a dead duck, and that's all.
You really don't believe in it, huh?
No, well, it's not a proven science. You know, they did a survey, and I don't know if this still exists, but 10 years ago, there was a survey. And it was all people who had some mental problems, ones that were put in an institution without any help.
Right.
Some who were just walking around on the street, and some who had given real personal help. The same percentage of each group recovered.
Well, it depends on... you can do a lot with statistics. I happen to know some people who have been greatly helped by psychology or psychiatry. It's so relative. It depends on the man or the woman and the relationship and how much people want it and they're willing to level and everything. Of course, it's not an exact science, but it can help in certain cases.
Oh, certainly.
You're going to read some of these poems? What are they? All kinds of serious, funny?
That's a good one.
You want to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
This one, this is a funny one. But some are serious.
All right.
This is called Perfect Day. Can I put my glasses?
Certainly.
Because I don't know them by heart. And I could see them. I look out of my window at the beautiful Pacific. The sky is clear, the water calm. It really looks terrific. My darling wife is calling me. I take my eyes off of the sea, in position to hear some lovely things she's muttered. Darling husband, if you're free. Louder now, she says to me. I said the toilet's broke, the house is flooded. There's lots of stuff floating everywhere. It's on my feet, it's in my hair. I think a little slid into the soup. My mother called, she'll soon be here to stay with us about a year. I think the dog has got a little croup. I smile and slowly move my hand across my right carotid gland and take myself firmly by the throat. Goodbye, clear sky and ocean blue. I'm going to say hello to you. I'm coming down to see you without a boat.
I think Robert Frost would have been touched.
Well, I don't know. I never read his stuff.
Oh.
Well, there's a lot of stuff.
What are these things you didn't do all of this at once? These are things
no,
that you
I did
wrote
over the last 10 years, and it's just been accumulating. And my wife had it. I don't know if I did this one. Golden Wedding. Did I do this on your show once? It's when I wrote this for my mother and father's 50th wedding anniversary, but
go ahead.
They wasn't around. I was a little premature when I wrote it.
But they might know about it anyway.
Yeah. 50 years together. The golden numbers shine. The years have passed, life's mellowed to the acme of its time. Love is all around us, and it's been here all the while, though the battles that we've won and lost can hardly bring a smile. For who knows where love doth end and the plague of boredom starts, nor can we find it anywhere except deep inside our hearts. Once I took your arm for comfort and the pleasure of your touch. Later on, I leaned upon it, a tender, loving crutch. Once I smiled and poured wine for you, fuel for passion's fire. Now again, a drop or two so you won't notice when I tire. I know your lovely life-worn face. I see each wrinkle there. I recognize nature's penmanship, how formed, for what, and where. Yes, the number 50 loometh like a big clock overhead, and I've loved you every moment. God willing, I'll love you when I'm dead. We're human, so we realize that all our days are numbered, but we will love and laugh and drink again when the angels write 100.
Hey, that's very nice.
Here's some weird ones.
Got a short one? The producer,
yeah.
Is that anything?
Oh, yeah, no, you can't read that.
Can't read that one, oh.
The last line is a little...
Yes, it is.
Oh, here's one called The Critic.
Okay.
That's a short one.
Okay.
With my assassin's axe I wait to show each king a vassal's fate, my pencil from its scabbard drawn, till every Samson's locks are shorn. My only fear and fervent plea, Lord, do they know they outthink me? The critic.
We'll be back in a second. We have to take a break. Here's the most original fragrance, Charlie, only from Revlon. Cass Elliot is here tonight, and she's feeling fine, which is something maybe of a record, because the last time she was appear on the Tonight Show, a couple of weeks ago, she actually collapsed about 10 minutes before the program began and had to leave by ambulance. But she's back tonight. Would you welcome, please, Cass Elliot. Is this show a jinx for you or something? This is not the first. Now, I wasn't here the last time that you were here, but the time before you came on the show and you went to the hospital.
Went to the hospital as the guest of NBC. Well, that was really not anybody's fault. What happened was, as we were leaving the show that time,
right outside.
The what do you call that? Sewer thing had been tilted up, and my foot slipped on it, and I was leaving for Texas.
I was standing right outside, and you came down and took a header.
Nice. And so I went to this little hospital across the street, your friendly neighborhood hospital.
Cedars of Oxnard.
Cedars.
In the valley.
Yeah, it's a lovely place.
But everything was okay.
Yeah, everything was fine. And everything is fine
What
now.
happened 2 weeks ago now? I didn't hear the whole story on that.
I had the vapors. Remember when people had the vapors?
Yeah, that was kind of a all-purpose term for feeling out of sorts, and they call them the vapors.
Vapors, you have to sit on the poach when you have the vapors, you know, do like this. I tipped over. I don't know how else to
Didn't
explain.
Blanche Dubois have the vapors in Streetcar?
Yeah.
I do think I have the vapors.
It's very genteel, I think. It's very, but that isn't what happened. I had a very bad headache.
Yeah.
That day, and I hadn't been able to eat anything. Ordinarily, I know you wouldn't think that was such a hardship for me, but my blood sugar level dropped or something, and I just sort of tipped over, and I spent about 4 days in the hospital. And please, I mean, I got so many nice cards from folks and everything, but I was on the news, which is really grim because my mother didn't know about it, and she saw it on the news.
Scares people to death.
And then I have some friends in Paris who called that made the papers in Paris. I mean, you know, I could work all my life to do something really good, a good piece of work, and nobody would ever hear about it. And just tip over somewhere where there's a camera, but...
A few years ago, I went up to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, just for a physical examination, you know, because you go there for 3 days. And I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anybody to know it. And one of the papers picked it up. And it's strange, as soon as they say, Johnny Carson in Mayo Clinic, people are already gathering for the reading of the will. You know, it's checkout city right away. You know, guys were lined up to do the show because they think that. So I'm really fine now. But everybody was so nice. I can't thank everybody personally. I'd like to just say thank you for all the nice cards and good wishes. Well, it's good to see you back. You look like you're feeling well. What have you been doing? Traveling?
I've been traveling. I just got home about 3 weeks ago. I've been on the road since November, with the exception of Christmas. I was home, and I'm just so glad to be home. I got to leave again in July. I thought I was going to be off all summer.
Do you get bored? I mean, not the performing is fun, but when you get through performing, there's time and you're on the road.
Do I get bored? Yeah. How bored is it, Cass? Well, I'll tell you how boring it is.
So boring, that.
It's boring. I mean, I watch all the soap operas. I mean, I watch every soap opera. I'm totally
Is Secret
immersed.
Storm still on?
I don't watch CBS.
Oh.
I mean, the soap operas
on
CBS, yes. I watch everything that's on NBC and a couple on ABC. But you get hooked, you get involved with the stories, you know, like I'm very hung up on, like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
That's still on.
It's a great one. Does anybody watch that? Do you watch that?
It doesn't make any difference, I understand, if you miss, say, a short period of, say, 6 months. Of course, you can tune in 6 months later, and John is still coming through the door that he started to come through. Did you know years ago, you're going to talk, the Hummerts? Do you know the Hummerts?
No.
Well, you're a little young for that. The Hummerts used to write, I guess about at one time on radio, a dozen different soap operas, and I'm just saying Frank, or maybe Frank Hummert. And they actually did a sequence once in a soap opera. It was very clever. Because they have flashbacks like they do in movies where everybody says, well, I remember the time, and they flash back. The guy was going through a revolving door out of a building. And in the revolving door, he thought of something that had happened. And they spent like 4 weeks in flashback before he came out. You know, and he'd say, gee, I wonder if Bill got the operation. And now Bill and they would appear. It was a
They had a
classic in
lady
soap
on
opera.
General Hospital who was pregnant for a year and a half. Do you remember that?
Lady
remember
on
when
was
Diana
pregnant
was
for a year and a
pregnant for
half?
A medical first, and her husband was a doctor. I guess if anybody can do it, he can.
And the kid come out and says, "What kept you?" Right? He's talking already.
There was no kid. She had a horse.
He was ready for school, that kid, I think.
Good.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that. You know, like today I was watching one of the soap operas.
Aren't they sad, though? I mean, most of the real problems.
Well, yeah, they are sad, but I think they're a great release for you if you watch it, you know, and nothing's really happening in your life. You know, you can get in and say, oh, I feel terrible because
Psychologists say it's good because their troubles are so much worse than what you have.
I hope so,
the
because
gal
the things
watching
I've
at home.
seen, I hope never happen to me. They get grim. I mean, they're in love with the wrong people all the time. You know, that's really the basis of all soap operas, is being in love with your best friend's milkman or something. It's just...
Yeah, they talk about television, you know, being sometimes at night, or even on our show, we've been called for being too double on time.
Oh, come on, watch one of
the
these.
daytime thing. There's more stuff that goes on, more infidelities,
very
more
hot.
alcoholism, more drug cases, more abortion, more anything in the daytime.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really hot. It's just a microcosm of American life. It's just right there on television for you every day. And I really enjoy it and get real involved. I mean, I used to watch General Hospital all the time, and there was a character on General Hospital, Phil Brewer. Oh, there he is now. Phil Brewer, and he was really not a nice character. I mean, he was very nasty to the lady he was married to, who was Jessie.
Right.
And I went out to do a television show at ABC, and I know it doesn't happen too much to performers, but I know that people tend to associate the actor with the character that they play. They don't really relate to the actor as a person.
Right.
So I went into the commissary at ABC to have some coffee. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and it's very cold in California, 65. And I was very cold, so I went in, and the place was packed. And I sat down at a table where there was one empty chair, and I was having my coffee, and a guy comes over, and he says, I look up at him, he says, "Can I sit down?" Now, instantly, I hate this man. And I don't, you know, I'm willing to give everybody a chance to be grim, but this
But you
man,
don't
I
know
didn't
why.
give him a chance at all. I just said, no, you can't sit down. And then he went over and stood in the corner and drank his coffee like this, and I realized it's Martin West, the actor who played Phil Brewer, and I was just being nasty to him because he was so rotten on that show.
And you didn't put the two together?
No,
at the time?
I just thought, oh, him, I don't like him. And it was him.
That's
I
funny.
apologized to him and everything. I didn't know what to say. I felt like an idiot.
Tell me about when you were on the dating game recently, or sometime. How did this come about? Because I kiss
Well, I
that
was
show once in a while,
blackmailed.
and I get hysterical.
I was blackmailed. to do
Number
that show.
2. Would you kiss me?
And would you believe that I got more
Where do they
nervous.
get those yo-yos on there anyway?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was more nervous doing that show than I
I don't mean the
had been
people.
in my
I mean
life.
the ones you have to select as the date.
Well, you see, here's my gripe about the dating game. I know the man who produces the dating game, Chuck
Yeah,
Barris.
yes.
Very nice man, and we've been friends for a long, long time. And he wanted my mother to come on the dating game. And my mother really wanted to go.
Your mother's divorced, or your husband
she's a
passed
widow.
away, right?
And she's done, you know, she did a commercial for Chungking Chinese food, and she's, you know, she had a little bit of a career going for her. And she wanted to go on the show a lot. So I said, all right, you know, so they were going to have her on in the opening segment, me in the closing segment. So I figured, well, now, I know all these people at the dating game, and, you know, I've been hanging around there for years, and surely they'll pick out 3, you know, hot dudes. They were the lamest, and I was so mad.
3 dogs,
I was so
huh?
mad. I thought, how can you do this to me? I'm your friend. I came on the show to do you a favor, and you're giving me these losers here. I didn't even go on the date.
Yeah. I always like the girls. They look like they've taken a cookie cutter and just... Wanda and Mindy and Gingy. They have an IQ like the tambourines they give away, you know.
Hovering at room
Great
temperature.
questions. Can't they think of any questions on their own? They give them questions, don't they?
Well, they give you questions to
We were
ask.
on a date and somebody was raping me. What would you do? Number 2. How those things ever end up in romances, I'll never know.
You know, I did have a friend who went on the dating game and married the guy that she met on the dating game. They had a trip. They got a trip around the world, and they fell
Why
in
not?
love and got married.
Once you've been around the world, you might as well, I guess.
Is that your attitude about marriage?
Did you go out?
totally?
Did you go out with the guy that you
No,
chose?
we won a trip to England. My mother, thank God, won
Was the guy
Jewish
that you
dream.
selected that you didn't see? How was he?
I suppose he was all right. You know, he wasn't anything to
Did
write
you go
home
to
about.
England
But
with
then
him?
again, my mother was already there, so there wasn't anybody to write anyway. I'm sorry.
Did you go on this trip?
No.
No.
But I was, you know, they say dates with celebrities are subject to their availability, and I just haven't been available. I don't know. Never have
Well,
I
you
been
keep
so
falling
busy.
down and hurting yourself. You'll never go. Hey, it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're feeling well.
Thank you.
Really. Let me interrupt here for a couple of seconds, and we shall return right after this word and join Mr. Doggy. Okay. Hey, we've had a lot of fun tonight, you know, even with the band gone, and I miss the guys because you miss that excitement, like
Yeah.
walking out with live music and playing in between and so
What
forth.
happened to your kazoo? Weren't you going to play the kazoo?
I've lost my lip. You lost the embouchure, as they say, you know, and can't really play the kazoo. My next guest has been sitting out here next to Freddie DeCordova, who's a very close friend of mine and been my producer for about 4 years. That's why I call him Freddie DeCordova. But this gentleman is named Don Kingman, and he is a prominent contemporary American artist who works just in watercolors. And he does fascinating things. And he will be the subject. His work will be the subject. He won't be the subject. Or he may be. He has a showing at New York's Hammer Gallery, or is it Hammer? It's Hammer Gallery, isn't it? Thank you very much, sir. Starting May 13th through the 25th. Would you welcome, please, Don Kingman. Hammer. How are you, Don? I've been out of the corner of my eye. I've seen you years ago on The Tonight Show. Almost, I think the first year we were on, 1963, you did some ink sketches like you've been doing while we were
Yes.
over here tonight. Have we changed at all in 11 years since you did those?
I remember those is,
Yeah.
about 11 years.
Right.
I think those drawing I make was very different than today.
Yeah.
I think I almost forgotten how to do that.
Don't you work? You work mainly in watercolors, and those were just with what? An ink?
Ink and brushes. You know, what I'm really trying to explain to the audience is each period when an artist paints, you know, I've been painting since I was 1916.
Right.
And the time continue painting. And then maybe 11 years ago, I've forgotten how those techniques.
In other words, your style, your technique changes.
I don't change too much, but perhaps I hope I learn more.
Were we good subjects tonight? I mean, when you were sitting out here, were we?
I don't know. They all look beautiful.
Shall we show some
the audience.
some of the things that you've been doing?
Yeah. But I'll be honest to you, I'm not very good in portraits.
Not very good, but these are just. I love the ink things. These are just little capsule.
Well, I remember the thing I did for you one time, 11
Our
years
fire
ago,
eater,
was
Jan Monroe, that was out earlier.
Oh, that's right.
But what I love is what you can capture with a minimum number of lines and effect, and get the action and the feeling of movement and everything. Now, look at that.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed you were watching that man very carefully.
You certainly was.
Now, that's action.
There comes Buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. There you are, Bud.
Yes. So perhaps if I put a little shading in it, probably it'll look a little better.
It's wild.
Yeah, my friend Buddy, he's really looked happy. Now look, see how happy he looked?
Now, you say you haven't done things like this for some time. There you are, Cass.
No, what I really meant is I have done many portraits.
Right. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
My
I really.
portrait is my main subject.
Right.
My main subject in painting is mostly subject of streets,
Right.
landscapes.
And you work only in watercolors, don't you? I've never seen
yes.
you do any oil. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, because I was...
Watercolors, I understand, unlike oils, which you can kind of go over and put in more pigment and so forth. But watercolors, you really can't do that. I mean, you
I
can't
know,
cover
but
too much, can you?
Let me tell you the secret of watercolor.
Okay.
You see, in the early day, I was in San Francisco. And then I go out to paint, and I usually find a location, perhaps near the bar.
Right.
So that's where you can get water, right?
Near the bar so you can get
Yeah,
water.
but in the morning, they're not open. So you go into the bar, and the janitor cleaning. That's in San Francisco, in the waterfront area.
Right.
Then he said, well, you got to buy a drink, see? Then they give you a glass of water because the janitor's not the bartender. And the man said, you want a glass of water, you got to buy a drink.
So you'd buy a drink.
Yeah. So you have to buy a glass of water because I have to use clean water all the time. You have to keep on changing. And by the fifth glass of water, you know, the water is quite clear, but the painting is very muddy.
Who are some of the people you've painted? You do occasional portraits of people.
Well, I think the most recent one was Frank Sinatra.
You got Sinatra to sit still long enough to paint him?
Well, that's a good question because he came to my studio in New York. You know, my studio's in New York City.
Right.
And my wife was taking photographs, and I said, "Now look that way, Frank." And then my wife asked him a question. He looked that way. Then very soon he kept doing this. I said, "Now, please look at one direction. How can I draw?" Well, obviously, he said, "Oh, all right." But then 2 more seconds, he's going around again. So I said, "All right, let's go and have a drink or something."
Yeah.
And forget the whole thing.
He's a very hyper person. You had to actually do it from a photograph? How long does it take if you're going to do a portrait of somebody? How long do you?
Very difficult to say. It depends on the situation.
Right.
See, a good painting is not necessarily done by the obvious thing on the surface, but technically you know what to do. But the subconscious.
To capture all of that behind the person.
You keep painting until the subconscious quality comes out of the picture.
Do they still have your mural up at the Americana in New York? Is that?
Oh, yeah, that one.
You did that one. Have you seen that mural? Was it the San Francisco, the skyline?
Yeah,
That's Dong's in the hotel there. We're going to show you some of Dong's work over here. We're going to swing a camera around here. We'll just sit here and comment on it from, and show you some of the lovely watercolors that he does. And if you have a color set at home, then you'll really understand. Oh, this is where you really come into your own.
Now, this is a painting, a watercolor, of landscape, obviously. In the foreground, you see junks, and then in the background, a mountain. It's a composite of the different locations I've been into. I've never been inside China, but this is perhaps maybe looking over the edge of China.
Now, is this done from like memory, places you've been, and then you recall them and put them on the canvas?
Together, yeah.
Okay, Bobby, let's go over to the next one here. And take a look.
Now, this is Hong Kong. Now, anybody who go to Hong Kong would stay in Kowloon side. This is from Kowloon side. And then you're looking over that little island in the back, and that's Hong Kong. And that is one of the places people are most fascinated. I know, Buddy, I've been to Hong Kong recently, have you?
I haven't been there since 1960.
Oh, you got a good memory.
Yeah, stayed at the Peninsula Court, which you told me to stay at.
Yeah, that's where you look across, you see those. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we'll move over now to another one.
Now, this particular watercolor, it is my own interpretation of people on the street waiting around doing something. Perhaps the audience look at that, maybe there was a motion picture being made. You see, I always think of our work, people always sitting around waiting for something. Idea of waiting, what they're waiting for.
I noticed in a lot of your scenes, for example, the one that I have is like a Mexican scene, and again, you've captured people sitting around like a small courtyard in various kind of feeling. You get the feeling of people waiting for something or what they're doing at that particular time. All right, we're going to take a look at another one here.
Oh, this is a Hong Kong scene, all right. Also, you see junk. This is Aberdeen, one of those locations. You look from the top of the hill over the distance, you see a wonderful village of junks acting there.
Well, you do lovely work.
Oh, thank you. Perhaps all this picture, you may see it in the New York City.
Is that the one that's going to be in one of the exhibitions? Do we have another one, or does that cover them all?
Yeah, that's a cover.
That's it. Hey, thank you for bringing those. Those are great.
Wow.
Lovely, lovely picture. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back to wrap it up. The cast, before we wrap up tonight, I hope you get out of the building safely and into your car.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. It's great to see you looking so good, and come back soon. You couldn't sing tonight, of course, since we have
No,
music.
I had such a great arrangement ready to sing and everything.
We'll do it next time, and I hope the guys are back soon, because we miss them, too. Dong, I thank you for being with us. I hope the exhibition in New York is a great success, as I know it will be. And, Buddy, thank you.
I don't know what to say. I'll be at the Sahara the rest of my life.
And tomorrow night we have Miss Phyllis Newman with us, Alex Karras, sexologist, Carl Fred Broderick. We have magician Mike Skinner and the great Lenac.
That's right.
Also known as Charles Flink. That's right, the great Lenac,
that tomorrow night?
also known as Charles Flink.
Night.
That's tomorrow night.
Oh, I'll be here.
I know you will. Thank you. You've been a fine audience. I'm humbled by that applause.